Hello and welcome back to the Women in Sports podcast, episode 2. And I'm really, really excited to be joined by a rugby league legend. Won Man of Steel not once, but twice, awarded an MBE, and currently heavily involved in the women's international game with the England women, but also the England Women Knights, and will be head coach of that programme. Paul Sculthorpe, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Morning, Lois. Very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm not too bad. How's Corona keep treating you?
Yeah, probably the same as everybody else, locked inside. It's a bit strange, isn't it? I've never known anything like this. It's a bit surreal.
It is. I've been speaking to you, and you said that you're more or less doing a 12-week training plan, aren't you?
That's what it feels like. It feels like a training camp for a world heavyweight title or something. It's the only thing that's getting me through the day is a couple of training sessions, and keep taking. It's one of them. It's met the best of the opportunity to do that. So
100%, and it's balancing that amount of training and staying away from the fridge for me, to be honest.
I think that's what everybody's saying, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Remember, you're bored, not hungry.
There'll be no jobs to do in these houses in summer. Every job's done.
I'm not sure about that in our house, but we'll see. So, obviously involved with the women's game more in the past couple of years. We'll speak a bit about your career and then move on to sort of the difference and similarities, coaching between men and women, because you've done both, and seeing both a lot of male athletes and a lot of female athletes. So it'd be really, really good to get your opinion and your thoughts on that. But I thought we'd kick off with a question of, is it on your career? You had an amazing career. Were there any women or females who particularly impacted on that or influenced your career?
Obviously the men's professional game, there weren't many women involved on the football side of things. I had a couple of women physios, which are obviously heavily important. Everybody obviously remembers Jeanette Smith, who I think she was the first woman physio in rugby league at Saints. So she was there. Jeanette was there when I joined, and then we had Claire Mannion, who was another head physio at Saints. So they played a massive role in obviously in my career. And then obviously, the support really, I would say probably the two biggest is obviously my mum and my wife, in supporting me throughout my career.
I think sometimes it's maybe overlooked, isn't it? The impact that, a partner or a parent can have, because it's not just something that you go and do on your own. I know that a lot of the history is on the field, but those off-field battles that you have when it may be
it's massive. It's massive. Yeah, injuries are a big one. When you're frustrated at home, because you do get frustrated when you can't do the job that you love. It's a great job, and we certainly can't complain of being professional rugby players. But the sacrifices made. I think my wife didn't have a summer holiday for 20 years. That's one of the sacrifices you have to make. So. No, but it is, and it's so much easier to be able to get up in the morning and go out, and have your head on the job when you've got that support from home, and certainly, with having young children as well.
No, definitely. I made a laugh when you said about the holidays. We're still sunny in October, November, and December. So obviously as well, you've moved into coaching, which is something that I'm quite interested in. The fact that obviously I retired last year and moved into coaching. How did you find that transition? What were the things that you maybe expected and didn't expect?
Yeah, probably a bit different than a lot of people in the professional game, because I never really wanted to go down the coaching road. I was coaching at a junior level. I coached my son's team from like under 12s to under 16s. I'd always enjoyed coaching, but I'd always enjoyed coaching the on-field stuff, not all the other stuff that comes with it in the professional game. And I'm not somebody who lives and breathes the game, or didn't do. Certainly at the time, it run my life for 20 years as a player, and it was nice to get that bit of separation away from. I never really got into the coaching on the professional side of things up until 2016, where I got approached about the England stuff. Obviously, with Wayne Bennett taking the senior squad, they were looking for coaching staff who were based in Britain to run from this side of things. And for me, it's the perfect job. It's not full on, as in runs your life. but it's dealing at the highest level with the best players. You know, be it the England youth that I do with, obviously the women's and the seniors and the nights players. So it is the perfect role, and it's great. You know, probably part of my role is more mentoring as well. So it's yeah, perfect role. Siri's going off there on my phone.
I know, but so when you said that you coached your son's junior team as he were growing up, did you ever have any girls in that team, or were there any girls at that club that you remember watching and sort of taking that in?
I think we had one young girl in the first year. I wasn't actually coaching. Jake joined from I think it was 10 or 11, and I think that first year we had a girl playing in that side, but not when I run the team. But you know, I've brought him through from playing under sixes, and you know, there's a couple of girls who's played in alongside, you know, coming through them early years, and it's great to see. It's great to see, and obviously great to see how the women's game has took off to allow, you know, them girls, because you know, I remember it used to be when they got to a certain age that they couldn't play with the lads, and more often than not, I had nowhere to go.
Definitely. I know when I finished at the under 11s with the lads, and I had to take a year out or so before there were another club that I knew that I could go to and stuff like that. So where we are now from where we were is absolutely massive. And I know I spoke to you, and you're friends with Gilly Gilmore and his sister Natalie Gilmore. She were probably, you know, one of them women who influenced my career, I would say. First tour that when I went to New Zealand, she were you know, someone who I looked up to and thought, you know, that's what it means to play for England, and that's what you do, and that's how professional you are. Did you ever kind of get, you know, any sort of stories from him about how tough it was maybe for her, and considering where you guys were?
Yeah, well, obviously I met Nat through obviously playing with Lee, and obviously knew, you know, she was probably the high profile woman at the time. You know, the game certainly didn't have the profile that it has now. You know, which you girls have got. So Nat was kind of a trailblazer for the women's game, and great to see that, you know, they get the recognition as well. She picked up the MBE for services to Women's Rugby League, and yeah, definitely somebody who set the ball rolling for the women's game.
I think maybe good to speak about at this moment in time with everything that's going on with COVID-19, the fact of, you know, Nat's a policewoman, and there's so many women who are playing rugby league and at the minute, and even back then. So she trained hard. She kind of encapsulated what it was to be a professional athlete that didn't, you know, get payments and things like that, but she always kind of stayed and remained professional. There's women now who are part of the England programme, Amy Hardcastle, for example, who were, you know, working for the NHS, working as key workers. How good have we got it, and how much of a challenging time do you reckon that this will be for them?
Yeah, it's a massive time. You know, obviously, you know, I know Amy well and see on her Twitter feed and that everything that she's going through at the moment. You know, you've got to put your hands up to these ladies, and you know, just the work that they're doing, and then to have to back it up. It's very much like when I started in the professional game, when it was part time. That you have a job. I'm lucky. I come literally from school. I did 4 months at sixth form college, and then Super League come in. So I've never really had a proper job. But you know, for certainly for this key workers and stuff now, with everything that's going on in the world, is must be an horrendous time anyway. But to try and tie that in with a rugby career as well, must be tough. So, you know, hands down to to these girls who are doing that.
Yeah, definitely. They're all brilliant, and we really, really appreciate everything they're doing. So thank you to all of those key workers. But also, I know it's a bit different, but how tough is it going to be for the male players or female athletes who are full-time instructed athletes, from going to be told what time to get up and to come train, to having nothing at all and having to train with no one looking over your shoulder as such?
Yeah, it's obviously tough. It's a challenge. It's a challenge of the mental fitness and no dedication really, and discipline. I was on an EPU meeting yesterday with Wayne. I was talking to Wayne about it, Sean Wayne, and just saying, you know, for me, it's an opportunity for those players who really, really want to work while they can. Find a way of keeping that level, or even taking it to the next level in using this time wisely. That you could really get, because not everybody will do it. We know that, and it's a great opportunity for them players to get a jump on everybody else in Super League. During these times. So I know we see a lot of the videos going around Twitter of players, with watt bikes in the gardens and different sessions, and I think for those who make the most of this,
I want to ask you then. So you've got a watt bike. Did you have the watt bike pre-corona, or was that brought in as the virus kicked off?
I'm lucky. I had the watt bike pre-corona, so I've always I'm a big watt bike fan, and obviously had the bike in the garage. So I'm perfectly set up for the corona lock-in.
It is class. I were looking and thinking, if when we move house next, I want a gym in the garage, because it would get you through these times and be good just to have anyway. You've been smashing the 20k challenge, haven't you?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of watt biking. Yeah, so I've it's funny watching all these current players all trying to get the 20k in 30 minutes. It's a warm up that.
What's your record?
I've got about just under 21 and a half in 30 minutes.
Nice, class, very very good. So, then you set the bar out from there, anyways.
Yeah, still got it.
So, what I'm interested in asking then is, you've been coaching women, and I was thinking back, and I was lucky enough that when I was involved in the England programme, you did some coaching there with Paul Anderson and Craig Richards and all the coaches that are involved and doing a great job. What's the difference, do you think, the main difference, or some similarities between coaching men and coaching women?
It's a difficult question, that, because obviously of the it's kind of new, this kind of level, the professional level of women's rugby, and I'd say a big one is probably that professional mentality of trying to get the women. Some get it. Obviously, you had it, and I don't want to single girls out, but Jodie Cunningham, Amy Hardcastle, players like that, who you can see the mentality of the girls to do everything they can to be the best that they can, and I think it's getting that into the girls, to be professional, not only when you're training on the field, but away from there, nutrition, psychology, everything else that is new to them, and it's something that is new, and obviously experience comes with a big part of that. So I think that's where the men's game, obviously, of that professional mentality, but they've done it for a lot longer.
Definitely, and they've got systems in place for longer as well, haven't they?
Yeah, that's it. The players, the support that the senior men get is phenomenal, and same throughout the Super League clubs, and no doubt that is the way that the women's game is going, but it'll develop over time, and it's just really working, and that's why I enjoy coaching. I enjoy passing on knowledge to somebody who wants to take it on board, and that's one thing I'll say about the women is they're like sponges. They want to absorb as much information as they can, and I love working with that and seeing girls improve, and I think we've seen certainly from my involvement, I can only comment on what I've seen over probably the last 12-18 months of the improvement from when I first got involved to now has been phenomenal. It's just working on different things. Like core skill is massive. Core skill wins games. Just improving that, but making it second nature to these girls. And then obviously, you finer things, game management, understanding why and when you do things in games. But that comes with experience.
Definitely. And do you think that the women learn a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean,
we like to ask questions, don't we?
Yeah, when they take it on board when they stop talking. But it is different, and you know what? I've really enjoyed coming on board with the women's program, and great bunch of girls, and as you said, that is, and that's part of what I said before about that professional mentality of when we're training, we're training. It's not, you're not here with a load of your mates to pick up on a few things and have a good laugh. It's about getting the job done and working hard, and I think they're getting that.
Definitely. I got involved with the England Knights probably in January, so we've not actually selected the squad for that yet, but we've been involved on the performance programme, and I think that there's been massive improvements and the girls all really buying in, and then a great Origin series on the back of that, so all really exciting. What would you say that you thought you knew versus what you know now? So what do you think women's rugby were like, and what do you kind of think now?
Yeah, I think although I won't lie, I think it completely exceeded what I imagined the women's game would be. I'd not seen a lot of women's rugby up until probably a year, 18 months ago. So to get involved and see it closer, way exceeded my expectations. And that's not being disrespectful. That's just because I've not seen a lot of it and what I had seen, but the standard now has come on leaps and bounds. And I think it's great the profile of the women's game, and I think it's obviously it's driving more girls towards women's rugby league, and they see the opportunities that are out there.
And that's what we're after, isn't it? It's making sure that people see the product and make their own judgment, because without seeing it, it's unfair and hard to say, isn't it, really?
Yeah, of course it is, and that's the same with with anybody throughout the game. Is we want to get people playing the game, and certainly the women's is a massive part of that. The more players we've got, the more players we can choose from, the better quality of the game that we'll have.
Definitely. So looking at Women's Super League, it was due to kick off last weekend. Leeds are due to have Bradford Bulls, little derby game. That was my first game for Leeds as well when we first played in 2018. What have you thought? So over the last 18 months that you've seen some games, what's the best performance that you can pick out watching, whether that's a team or an individual?
Do you know what? I've been to a few games, and obviously the ones I've been involved with are not Super League games with clubs, but the Origin games. I love the Origin game in 2018, the one we had at Warrington. I was helping Amanda Wilkinson for Lancashire then. Sorry, Lois, Lancashire did win, but it was just a cracking. It was a cracking game, and just recently as well. Obviously, the three Origins that we've just had, in the last few weeks, three cracking games. The girls really took on board what we've done in the performance program, and put that into practice on the games. But just the intensity and the enthusiasm, in these games is. And the one thing I will say that I really enjoy about the women's game is it's pure as well. They play what's in front of them. It's not very structured and everything else because that's quite new as well in the coaching and we're still working on a lot of core skill and things like that. That it's not as structured as the men's game. So it's really enjoyable to watch.
Oh, brilliant. And there have had to have been a lot of enthusiasm in that second Origin game coming up that slope at Batley, yeah?
Definitely. I think to turn up on a horrible night at Batley on a Wednesday night shows the commitment of these girls, and it was a fantastic game. And I think it ended up 12 all or 20 all or something. It was I think we drew the second one. Cracking game, and fair play to all the girls who took part. And for me, probably the third game, obviously being on the Lancashire side, was an outstanding display. To nil Yorkshire, and it was just a clinical performance. Sorry, Lois.
It's still sore. Lancashire just did the simple stuff so well and played for each other, and I think it were a real good team performance. And when a team comes together like that, it's really tough to stop. And
do you know what I think as well? The opportunities that Yorkshire had, which Lancashire You know, how often do you hear that saying of defence wins games, and that certainly was the case on that. The scramble, the work for each other on that last game was outstanding.
We'll move on from that anyway, quickly. What were your 2020 predictions, or what are your 2020 predictions for Women's Super League? What are you excited to see? How do you think it's going to pan out?
Do you know what? I think it'll obviously be the best yet. It was so disappointing not to see it kick off, obviously, with everything else that's going on in the world. But it's I think it'd be an outstanding competition. You know, I think all the teams have strengthened, and obviously the players that have. That's the great thing with having the national performance program, having a bigger group of players that can go out there and then work in their own individual clubs as well, and try and pass on that development. Can only strengthen the Super League as a competition as well. So, you know, that and obviously having the backing of our good friends at Betfred as well is outstanding. So really looking forward to, and hopefully the season will be kicking off sooner rather than later.
And Warrington and the new team in town, along with Huddersfield. Warrington are going to be coached by, I think, Benny Westwood's coaching them as well a little bit, isn't he, with Lee Westwood?
Yes, yeah. So you know what you're going to get there, don't you?
But again, how good to have another legend of the game wanting to put back and wanting to really, really help. And I think that you've seen with yourself and Cuthbo and Sean Briscoe was involved on the EPU as well, how much it does really mean, because it sort of adds that credibility as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I say, giving that a bit more profile to the competition. But you know, we do it because we thoroughly enjoy it with the women, because of the effort and the commitment that they're putting in. So great to see Benny, you know, giving back and obviously still staying involved in the game, and he'll have a lot to pass on to the girls.
Definitely, and brilliant to see him involved. So, Woman of Steel. Man of Steel, you won it twice. Can Courtney Hill retain it? And if she's gonna, what would she have to do?
She certainly can retain it. She's an outstanding player. One thing I like about Courtney as well is, you know, we talk about, you know, the girls, their development, and a lot of it being game management, of knowing what to do on the field and when, and how to run a game. Certainly being a halfback as well. I think she's got that. She understands the game. She's very knowledgeable, and obviously she's got the skill set as well to back it up. You know what she sees, and yeah, there's no doubt she'll be a key player for Leeds, and you know in Super League this year. And you know if she can carry on where she left off and keep improving, there's no doubt she can be the second one to do back to back.
It'll be good, eh? It'll be good. Well, we're wishing her all the best of luck. She's currently stuck in Australia, but still training hard. And I'm looking forward to getting back to Women's Super League. I think she'll be itching to get going, because obviously she had that time over with the NRL for their nines competition. Yeah. Got married, and then we're ready to hit the ground running for round one. But unfortunately, we've been stalled. But she's ticking over. She's kind of one of those players who is professional to the extra mile. She's brilliant. So hopefully she can retain it again. But if you were voting, I know we don't do a voting system for the women's competition. It's all kind of done internally. Players get to vote. If you were voting, what would the key things be that you'd be looking at to award your points?
Consistency. I think that's the big one. Is playing consistently well week in, week out. Obviously having a key impact on your team and where your team, you know, not since their finishes, but the performances in how your team play. I think consistency is the big one. It's setting that standard and doing it week in, week out, not you know, coming in and coming out and you know, going missing in games. So I think that's the big one. And you know, when I got it in 2001 and 2, I was playing six both of them years, playing at standoff, and I think it's always easier. You know, you want to look through history of the Man of Steel or even Woman of Steel in the last couple of years. You know, the key positions where you touch the ball more than anybody else is always helps the cause of trying to win individual awards. But you know, I think any player will tell you if I'm sure Courtney would give up a Woman of Steel award for another grand final win for Leeds. You know, it's a team game, but individual honours are nice. But you know, the big prize is obviously picking up the competition trophies for.
Definitely, and we hope she'll be picking another one up again, anyways, in 2020. But we'll see when we get.
I'm sure you'll do the business, Lois.
We'll see. But how good of an example is for anyone who's maybe tuning into this, thinking they're stuck at home. I think everyone's probably going to be thinking, what things can I do once we're allowed back out? It showed me I don't want to just sit around and do nothing. I want to do something new. Courtney came to the sport late. She was a professional cricketer. She was playing over in Australia. She played a bit of rugby at school because they all do in Australia. And then came over here to give it a go. How much of a great example is she to anyone who's thinking about giving the women's game a go?
Yeah, she's obviously she's a great example. I think rugby league is probably one of the most simple sports as well. And I think that's something that I know there's been spoke about. Within the EPU, at all levels, it is about that talent transition of targeting other sports to come to our game. I think if you're fit, you're strong, you're athletic. You can learn skills, you can learn the core skills, and you can learn the game. What you can't put into somebody is that physical, thing that you're born with. So if there's athletes out there, give rugby league a go because it might be the game for you. It's such a great game. A non-stop collision sport, and there's so many people you speak to who said, I tried it once and I'm hooked. I love it. Either playing it or watching it. So I think for anybody who watches this, come and give it a go. There's plenty of opportunities out there now, because I don't think you'd be disappointed.
No, definitely not. And
I think you see the level that Courtney got to, from starting late to where she is now. So it shows that you don't have to be born into it. There is opportunities to click on and do well in the sport.
100%. And speaking about opportunities, looking ahead to 2021, I mean, 2021 is already built to be an absolutely awesome year for sport, with all the sort of postponements of things moving into 2021. But by far the best, Rugby League World Cup 2021. How exciting is that, and how much are you looking forward to being involved with the England Women's Nights and performance programme ahead of that?
Yeah, so it's a massive year, isn't it? It's just got even bigger now with everything else that's gone on this year. But it's been on the back of our forefront of our minds for the past 4 years within the England programme, and everything building towards winning 3 World Cups with the wheelchair, the women, and obviously the senior men. So a great opportunity, and for the women to be on that level, of profile with a home World Cup, and the opportunity is we've got 18 months really to work hard on the players, on the performance, and what better way to show it than picking up a home World Cup.
100%. I mean, I played in the World Cup in 2013 when it was in England, and that were by far one of my highlights. But then seeing the difference between 2013, 2017 in Australia for the World Cup, but then you just know that 2021 is going to be an even bigger step in professionalism, equality with the women's, men's, wheelchair, all staged on the same stage pretty much. But also the fact that you're in England, there's no better time to pull on that England top, is there?
Oh no, it's to play for your country in a home World Cup is the pinnacle for me, and it's going to be massive as well. I've got to give big raps to John Dutton and his team as well, who really sold this World Cup over the last 2 years. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do, and over the next 18 months, as I said before we hit that competition. But for me, it's set to be the best yet, and for the women's England side, I think it's probably the biggest opportunity that they've had so far, and got a great chance. But it all comes down to that hard work over the next 18 months to really make sure that they're in the best position to go on and win that, because there's some big challenges in front of them. Australia, New Zealand being two of them. I think that the girls' scene, obviously sampled the PNG side last year over there in 2 games, so it's going to be a tough competition. But I truly believe that if we really work hard over this next 18 months, that going to be in a position to challenge for that.
And speaking about the new kids on the block, I was lucky enough in December to go to Brazil to meet some of their women's national side and the guys who were sort of starting that movement over in Brazil. And I don't know if you know Matt Gardner, he's taking that role, isn't he? I thought you would do. How exciting for him, first of all, to be creating some history. That's what I think always set us in great stead with Leeds. Cuthbert always made it dead apparent that you've just got history to be created and how special it could be. But how good to see a team and a nation like Brazil coming on board.
Oh, it's massive. Paul, Matty's elder brother Paul was one of my best mates growing up. We actually signed for Warrington together on the same day. So I used to spend a lot of time up in Barra, up at Matty and Paul, and obviously went on and played with Eddie Gardner, and he'll just be so proud to represent Brazil. His lovely mum Teresa, who's obviously is the Brazilian side of the family. She'll be so proud to see him obviously leading that. And we talk about spreading the game. Seeing teams like Brazil come into the competition, it's fantastic for rugby league. The profile of the game, and hopefully come with a strong team. As I said, they might be quite raw in regards to rugby league, but I've no doubt there'll be some athletes in that team as well.
But without a doubt, I was lucky enough to go to their national finals day in Sao Paulo when we were over there. And looking at the standard, I put it on my Instagram, and some of the girls messaged me saying, they're pretty good. They were really, really physical, fit. Loved the contact, maybe a bit too much. Need to be looking at playing the spaces rather than absolutely smashing at each other. And just if they speed up that play of the ball, and a lot of them are heavily union influenced, so stop kicking at random tackle counts, then I think they've got a great platform to build on, and I'm really excited to see them come to Leeds, because that's where the opening game and quite a few games are going to be run from the Emerald Headingley Stadium.
Yeah, I think it'd be exciting, obviously. To see what they bring. Every team has got different strengths and weaknesses, and no doubt theirs will be, as you say, physicality. They're quite new to the game of rugby league, so the game management might not be up to scratch. But if they know how to tackle and run, I'm sure they'll cause some problems.
And we all know anything can happen on the day, and it's just 80 minutes, and that's all you've got to look at it as, of 80 minutes of anything can happen, and I think it's exciting. We're gonna finish on 2 sort of questions to you, so we've probably maybe covered it a little bit, but what would you say to someone who hasn't watched it in Super League yet?
Just get out and watch it. Get out and watch it, because you won't be disappointed. And as I say, it's quite a pure game. It's I know coaching as well in the sessions. One of the hardest bits is stopping the girls wanting to smash each other all the time. Everything's done physically and done at full tilt, and it's an entertaining game. And I think obviously the more that the girls learn and develop as well, it's only going to get better. So if you get an opportunity to get out there and see a game, do it, because you won't be disappointed.
That made me giggle. I've had a daft smirk on my face, because I think the hardest thing for a coach must be saying to Amy Hardcastle that you're only playing shot to stop. I've seen her have a full-on fight at training before, not at an England session, when we were at Bradford.
Yeah, she's an absolute beast. Do you know what? I'm glad I retired and didn't have to play against Amy. I'm glad I just coached her.
Well, I think it were the first time since my injury that I've had DOMs at that session at Bradford. Cuthbert put me on a shield and were like, "You'll be all right, won't you?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, she's a beast.
And she was in that line and just kept running into me. And day after, I said to him, "I don't know why my arm is killing me." And it's this arm that I've been holding pad with. Terrible. And then last one then. what advice have you got to any athletes, male, female, individual, team sports during this period of lockdown? How are they going to keep ticking over, and what's going to be the making of them?
Do you know what? Keep positive, because you know what, no matter how difficult your circumstances as well, everybody's in the same boat. It's frustrating, obviously, being locked in. But just try and keep positive, keep active. Certainly exercise wise, because it's the best endorphins you can get is to exercise. So keep motivated, and certainly for any players out there, use this opportunity to get the jump on everybody else, because if you're willing to do that, as I said, not everybody will. If you're willing to put that effort in and work, and it could be a great opportunity once the season kicks off. But to everybody out there, just keep positive. It's a tough time, but everybody's going through it.
And I 100% agree. And anyone can send through their what bike scores to you directly if they manage to beat that 21k in 30 minutes. There.
Yeah, fire them on.
All right, no. Thank you so much for joining me, Scully. It's been great to catch up with you, catch up on all your thoughts, Women's Super League, international game for the women, and generally just rugby league. So thank you for catching up with us, and take care.
It was a pleasure, Lois. No worries.
I'll speak to you in a bit. Bye.